Writers are pretty much the only kind of people that can like claim to hear voices and not be carted away by men in white coats. So I started to pick up this narrative voice and just started to ask questions about, you know, what she was saying, and then as I filled in the answers to those questions, or the sort of magical part of my subconscious filled in the holes in that story, then she started to sort of come through. But definitely her voice was always very strongly hers, and that I appreciate about her.
So Tahara, why is Juliet's power that she can't be touched? How did you think of that, and how did that just come to become a character?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of steal from Cynthia's answer here. Sort of, but sorry. When I wrote Shatter Me, I didn't have any specific intention. I'd been actively writing when I wrote Shatter Me, and so it wasn't like the first time I ever sat down to write a book. And I was sitting at my desk one day, and I was struck by the image of a girl. It was just a very vivid image in my mind of a girl who was sort of curled into herself in a dark corner. And all I knew about her was that she was locked up, terrified, and that she had been confined for a crime she didn't intend to commit. So she was guilty, but her intentions were good. And even though she was extremely quiet, her inner voice was extremely loud in my head. And it was just, I felt so compelled to try and capture it on paper. So at that moment, I just sat down, I opened up a new Word document, and I started writing. The first pages of Shatter Me, as they read today, are exactly as they were when I first sat down that day and wrote them down, with the strike-throughs and everything. It was just, I felt, and it was the first time that I thought to myself, you know, it's screw convention. I'm just going to write a book the way that she sounds in my head. Because I'd written manuscripts before that were very conventional, very like standard, very normal. And Shatter Me is riddled with like grammar and punctuation nightmares, and my copy editors hate me. And they have to constantly be like, well, did you intentionally not put a comma there, or was that a mistake? Like every single time, because they never know. And that's just because she's really sort of losing her mind. She's been in complete isolation, and I wanted the prose to be a reflection of the chaos in her head. But I didn't know anything about her other than that sort of immediate voice, and it wasn't until I started asking questions about who she was, what she could have done to land herself in such complete and utter isolation, that I started getting some answers. And the world and the rest of it and her backstory and the other characters, they all came about as I asked questions about the story. I sat down and I wrote it from start to finish with absolutely no outline. I just asked a lot of questions and got my answers by writing down the story.